Yo, what is up? What is good? What is great? It's your boy Joe, and today's another amazing and awesome day. This is episode 2 of Anything Goes with Joe, the podcast where we not only talk about anything and everything, but we aim to change perspectives and opinions made on people with disabilities. Damn, it's so crazy to think that this is just episode 2. Like, episode 1 was actually a smash. Thank you guys for all the support that you guys showed throughout that episode. I think it was pretty dope. And it felt good to just put it out there, man. But let me tell you, the process to put it out there was so detrimental, just because of the simple fact that the editing process and everything was just so it wasn't hard. I'm not gonna say it was hard, but it was just one of those things where it was I didn't really know what I was gonna do, in terms of putting it out. I didn't know, I actually did so many takes on that. Usually, you wouldn't say something like that, but I think that my main focus is just being as real and transparent as possible to show you guys that are trying to do what I'm doing. That it does take multiple takes. You do got to do it several times. I've recorded so many different versions of that episode, and it's just that's the one that ended up sticking. But I feel like that one stuck because it was the most genuine one, and so going into it, it just felt right, you know what I'm saying? Especially just the vibe and everything, the way I led into it and how I kind of just put everything on the table. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody that tuned in and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty cool. This one's I'm sure this one's gonna be just as good, if not better. This is actually a topic that is kind of crazy because it's one of those things where it's not a lot of people, especially disabled people, like to talk about this specific topic. But I think that for me in particular, I kind of, I guess, I don't want to say come to terms with it, but it is different when it comes to people with disabilities, and that is relationships, because interabled relationships are actually a lot more difficult than regular relationships, because it's not everybody knows what it's like to be in a wheelchair or have a disability in general, not even necessarily just in a wheelchair, but just to have a disability, so it's when they go into it, right, they're not thinking about all of the things that come with it, right? But it's when you look at it from a whole perspective, and then you see all the I don't want to say all the things that come with it, but you start to see the different things that are not normal, quote unquote, in quotations, in a regular relationship versus an interabled relationship. So with that, it tends to kind of catch a lot of people off guard. I can definitely say that with 100% confidence for myself, being that I've been in my fair share of relationships. But it's it's one of those things that's it has to be addressed. It has to be mentioned in the beginning of the relationship. Otherwise, it's probably not gonna work, And unfortunately for me, I've been fortunate enough to be able to know the people that I've been with before we actually pursued something. But that doesn't mean that just because I've knew them previously doesn't mean that they still kind of are on board with the whole, being in a wheelchair thing. So that in that sense it sucks. But for me, I think that I've never really took it hard, because I never really looked at it as I was the issue. It was just more of the circumstances. So I think that's what makes it a little bit better in my situation. However, for other people, I know that it can be very difficult, because it can be very discouraging, with always putting yourself out there just to get rejected and stuff. And it's normal, man, not even just with disabled or interabled relationships, but rather just regular relationships. It's normal to have to keep going to the well and trying again, but it's just a matter of just sticking to it and picking yourself up at the end of the day, I think. But the reason why I wanted to talk about the interabled portion of relationships is because so many people don't know where to go when it comes to that. They don't know how to they don't know what they have to do to be able to be quote unquote good enough. And I think that the simple answer would be, oh, just be you. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes especially with being disabled, sometimes being you isn't enough, you know what I mean? Because sometimes people always want more. We live in a generation, in a world where people always want more, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you being you isn't enough, so it's I feel us disabled people always have to be extra with it, because like not only do we have to get the person that we want, whether it be a guy, girl, whatever, but we also have to keep them. You know what I'm saying? And that, it sounds crazy to say that, but it's like sometimes it'll start off really good in the beginning. You guys will hit it off, and then like 3 months, maybe 4 months later, it's like, hold on, wait a second. Like after that, because for some people, it's like at least for me, being in a chair, it's like, okay, well, like knowing this, every time we go somewhere, now we have to take the chair apart. You know what I'm saying? And now we got to put it in the car. Are you fine with that? Do you know how to do it? Are you willing to learn how to do it? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like there's just all these different things that come into play when doing something like that, and I think that that's what makes it scary for most people. Um, but it's like, you know, it just sucks because sometimes you'll have really good, you'll hit it off really well. You know what I'm saying? As like during the talking stages and stuff, and then when it gets serious, that's when it's like, oh damn, you know what I mean? Because then you built all this time, you spent all this, you put you put yourself out there basically. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of like be in a situation where it's like you feel like you're kind of like, I don't want to say. I mean, I guess the right term would be useless, but maybe that's a little bit dramatic. I don't know, but yeah, man. I don't know. Like all I'm saying is that I know from experience how that feels because I've been there. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely normal. And again, I don't want it to seem like it's just people with disabilities that go through this, because I know that quote unquote regular people. I say that very loosely, by the way, but whatever your definition of regular is or normal is, relationships, they go through that too. So it's like, but I think that at the end of the day, though, too, it's like you have to really know yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to really know what it is that you're going after, I think. Because, like, for me, I think that for a while I was always just, like, okay with being, like, the option, you know what I'm saying? Like, or rather, an option. But I think that now it's, like, I know what I want in a relationship, so it's like it's easier for me to be able to like approach that in that way and be like, okay, look, if we're gonna go any further from this is what this is my, like, I don't want to say expectation, but this is what I'm looking for, and that, if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying. So if you can't fit that description, then you know what I'm saying, like, so be it. Because like I feel like anybody, whether you're disabled or not, you should always know what it is that you're going after in a relationship. If you want to just have a partner to like, as an option, okay, say that in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, and make sure that you guys can agree to that on mutual terms, but it's like, I feel like I'm at a point where it's like I've already done that. I feel like I've had my fair share of that, and I want something like a little bit more like genuine, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that my other relationships weren't genuine, but it was just like, it wasn't like, I don't know. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, okay, so like, I'll put it to you like this, like, so almost every relationship that I've been in has always been very good relationships, to say the least. Like, there's some like things that may happen along the way or whatever, and it might mess things up. But for the most part, I think none of my serious relationships have been less than like 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's a long time, and that says something not only about myself, but just about the kind of quality or the type of things that I have to bring to the table. So it's like, that's why I think that it's important to stick to that. It's important to always, because like my thing is like, I don't like to, like, if I wanted to fucking like test drive a relationship or whatever, like, I wouldn't even put it into context, like put it into the context of like having a relationship. It would just literally be like a hookup or whatever, and again, that's not what I'm trying to do. These relationships that I've been in have been long for a reason, because we go through all the bad shit and the good shit too, just like any other relationship. But it's like, I think for me, the biggest mistake that I've made throughout like my courses of relationship was I never really, like, we've talked about the situation of me, being in a wheelchair and things of that nature, and how that's like difficult in its own way, or at least can be very challenging in its own way. But I've never like asked their opinion of it, because I've always assumed that if you're talking to me, that means that you're willing to like that you can see past that and it'll be all right. You know what I mean? So it's like I never really looked at it as like a topic to be, to be discussed. So it would be like I wouldn't find out until, like, I don't know, a year or two later. It's like, oh, by the way, I don't know if I can do the whole, like, wheelchair thing. And it's like, I think the common misconception that a lot of people think about when they when being in a relationship with somebody that is disabled, they constantly think that they have to be like a care provider for them in a sense. And I think that's what scares a lot of people away. And for some cases, like, some cases, you do have to be that person. You do have to be that right hand man, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because you're basically the thing that helps them live, basically. But that doesn't mean that it's the case for all, like, situations. And even then, like, that doesn't mean that you can't help them learn how to do things for themselves. Sometimes that's all it really takes, is just finding somebody that's willing to help you learn, how to do things for yourself. Like, for me, I can say for me, it's a bit different because I've been fortunate enough to be able to do things for myself. Like, I can dress myself, I can do all that. Like, I can shower, and I rarely need help, and if I do, it's like the small things, you know what I mean? But it's like, I know that that's not the case for everybody, though. I know that some people, again, they really rely on their significant other to basically be their working legs, you know what I mean? So it's like, but to put everybody in that category, though, of like, oh, I gotta be a caregiver, or oh, I gotta like always attend to them, I think that's kind of shallow, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I guess everybody has their own perspective of it, and I can't tell you how to feel about it. I can only try to do my best to educate you, and I think that that's like as far as I can go. You know what I mean? But I think that I'm not gonna tell you that you're wrong for feeling the way that you feel. I am gonna question a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna like tell you like, oh, you shouldn't feel this way or whatever. Like, no, you're entitled to feel however you feel. But at the end of the day, at least try to figure out like what it is that you can do to help the situation before you decide to just like exit out of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've had my fair share of relationships and stuff like that. Currently, I'm not even trying to do all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally just trying to like go to school right now and just focus mainly on this right here. This opportunity that presented itself, which is the podcast. So it's like I'm not really trying to do all that extra shit in terms of like not that having a girlfriend or being in a relationship would be a problem, but I just think that I'm the type of person that likes to focus on one thing at a time, I think. And I think that if I'm not in the right space mentally to be able to provide you the type of care and love that you need, then I probably shouldn't put myself in that situation. And which leads me kind of like to the next, like, to the other end of it too, though, because like, I mean, yeah, being disabled is one thing, and yeah, it can be a problem, but I'm not gonna sit there and say and like play the victim either. Like, when it comes to communicating, I am horrible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am not good in any way, shape, or form with communicating, and I'm getting better at it as I grow or whatever. But like, when it comes to like texting, I am not a texter. So like, if I ever hit you back, like, even if I react to your messages, like, just know you're somebody pretty special to me, because 9 times out of 10, I ain't even gonna lie, like, I leave a lot of people in red, and it's fucked up. But it's like a lot of people that I like have my number. I mess with a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm close to a lot of them, but there is those handful of people that's just like acquaintances. And so it's like sometimes I'll just try to hit you up, and like, if I'm not in the mood to vibe, if I'm not in the mood to really like conversate, or just like I know I'm not gonna be like a good time, then I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather just like dead it all. You know what I mean? And I guess it's like a bad trait of mine, and it's something that I should work on definitely, pretty heavily. But like, I think the biggest thing is that I can realize that and like know that that's one of the things that I'm not really good at. But so yeah, like, cause my whole thing is like, I'm more of like an in-person kind of dude. Like, I like to, if I'm talking to you, it's in person. We're vibing, we're doing whatever we do, and that's that. But like, when it comes to like texting, I'm just not a texter. It's just not my it's not in my nature, I guess. I don't know, but like I'm just not like it's not one of those things that's just like, oh damn, I got to text her like all throughout the day. And like no, I'll probably hit you up like in the morning, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit throughout the day if I have something like interesting that going on, or like just if I'm in a situation where I need like a second opinion. But like it's not gonna be something where it's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh no, what are you doing? Oh no, I'm chilling. What are you doing? Like no, it's like a bit no, we ain't doing that shit. Like to me, I feel like that's like I feel like that's like amateur shit. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't know. I mean, and then again, like I feel like I'm being kind of like insensitive though, because at the same time, like some people, that's just the way they vibe, and they have to be around their person at all times and stuff like that. But for me, I'm all about like personal space. I'm all about giving people their time to just be them. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that makes the perfect balance within a relationship. Like, because if you're constantly all around, always around, your significant other, you're gonna get tired of them quick. Like I know I would too. Like, and not even just significant other, but just people. Like I'm not really like, and I mean this so hard, like wholeheartedly. Like I am not by any means a people person. Like I communicate great around people. Like when I'm around people, but like if I have the option to be around people or to stay home, you best believe I'm gonna fucking stay my ass home. Like I don't like to be around people 24/7, especially when it's people that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So to take it out of context of like just a relationship and just like as a friendship basis, like it's even hard for me to even be like friends with some people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just my antisocial side of myself, which is getting better. I definitely think that it's improving 1,000%, because I feel like I'm able to like engage, in conversation a lot better and a lot easier. My thing is though, meeting people that where the conversation is kind of like one-sided. I don't like that. Like I don't like when the conversation is one-sided and you're the only person that's kind of like putting the effort to talk to the person, because then at that point it's like, well, why am I talking to you? Why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like again, aside from a relationship, just a friendship in general, like I just can't have that type of energy. Like if you're gonna hit me up, like you know what I'm saying, like have something to talk about, or at least make it fun, you know what I'm saying? Then don't just be a dry texter where it's like, hey, what are you doing? And then like you say, oh, whatever, and then you either not reply or you fucking, reply all dry and shit. Like I don't know. I don't like that. Like it's just not my thing. I don't know. Maybe like hearing it from a third point perspective, not like so telling you guys, it kind of makes me sound like I'm like picky, but I promise you, like I'm not. I'm just like I'm just very like, I don't know. I guess I'm just too honest, I think, when it comes to situations like that. And it could be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing too, I think. But it's nonetheless, it's something that I definitely need to work on in general. But it's like I just don't understand like why people hit you up if they're not gonna, one, conversate, and two, like they're not gonna keep the conversation going. Like you know what I mean? Like I just don't understand it. If you're not good at conversating, then just say that. And if you and if that's what it is, then don't hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, like you can see me in person or something, and we can, exchange a couple words or whatever. But that's it. Like you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like old fashioned or something. I don't understand. But nah, man. Like I don't know. I like that's something that I ask myself too, though, because it's like when it comes to like relationships, especially like committed relationships, meaning like you're in it to win it type shit, and I feel like that's how it should be with every relationship. But some relationships, I say that because like some relationships, like you just know it ain't gonna be like long term. It's just kind of like for the moment, you know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is, you know what I mean? Like at least I know. Like after like the first date, maybe it's no, after like the second date, I would say, like I think I know like whether this is gonna be something that's gonna stick or if it's just gonna be something that goes away. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times I try to keep it like in the friend circle. I think that's what I try to do. So if it doesn't work out, or if I feel like it's not gonna work out, then we can still like be cool with each other and kind of just like I'm not gonna be a complete asshole and just be like fuck you, like fuck your existence. Like no, that's not what I'm trying to do. But like it honestly just depends though, man. Like because when, like I said, when you're in a relationship though, and you feel like it's like in it to win it, like especially being in an interabled relationship, like that's where it's like Now you gotta talk about having kids, and now you gotta like figure that whole thing out. And again, and that's another thing that comes up in conversation because they feel like, oh well, if I'm with this guy, not only do I have to take care of him, but he's not gonna be able to produce. Like you know what I'm saying? His shit don't work. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it sounds funny, and yeah, you can laugh at it, but at the end of the day, these are actual like legitimate things that people think about, and it's just like I think that's one of the things that you don't really know until you kind of just like try it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that depending on the type of person, I think that's something that the disabled person should be able to tell you, like whether they are or not, or not able to like produce or whatever. But I don't know. Like I don't see like me personally, if I'm being honest, like just from my personal like look at it, like I don't feel like kids are a necessity thing in a relationship. Like if you think that you need to have kids to have like a family and stuff like that, then maybe that's something that y'all should talk about. But I personally think that like I don't know, I don't really want kids, man. Like that's just like my thing. Like I don't really care to have kids. Like it's not my thing. But then you get some people though that really want kids, but they can't have them. You know what I'm saying? But in my case, I believe. I don't. I've never been in a situation like that, thankfully. But I believe if it came down to it, I could definitely produce kids. You know what I mean? But I think that's just something that again you would really just have to like ask the person. And again, regardless if they're disabled or not, I think it's something that you should just like be curious about. Leave it on the table, but don't be like forward with it because I think that it'll come in time. You know what I mean? Like that topic will come up in discussion at some point in time, and you'll be all right. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me and my personal take on it, like I don't need kids or like some type of ties to you to be able to call like what we have a family. You know what I'm saying? Like we could get a couple dogs. You know what I'm saying? We could get maybe. I'm not really fond of cats, but if the cat's gonna make you feel better, we could get a fucking cat. You know what I mean? Like and kind of like call them those. Call those our kids or whatever. But I just don't really care to have kids of my own, to be honest. I think that if it happened, I guess I can say that if it happens, well, obviously it happens. I'm not gonna say you're gonna go ahead and just like I'm not gonna fucking up and leave or whatever, or try to get rid of it by any means. Like no, if anything, I'm gonna do what I can to do my part in taking care of the situation. But my initial goal would be like my initial response or reaction, whatever, would be like to not do it in general. I don't know. I don't like the idea of having my own kids. But it's crazy. I say that, and then like in that same sentence, I always think like, you know, what about adopting kids? And again, I mentioned earlier that I've been in relationships, and I've been in relationships where we have talked about those specific matters. And at the time, I think it was different at the time though, because at the time I actually wanted kids. I didn't always not want kids. Like I definitely wanted kids at some point, but I think I just like, I don't know. I guess the more I thought about it, it was just like, nah, because I feel like I have more cons than pros when it comes to being able to like do stuff to help out. And I think that I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want the chick to feel like all the responsibility of our kid is on them. You know what I'm saying? So I would rather like not approach that situation until I knew for a fact that I would be able to be the person that she would need me to be, right? So it's like, but with that being said, that's why I think I'm so firm on the answer that I have now, because I just know that I'm not at that level to be able to like provide in the way that they would need me to provide. So I think that that's why like I'm not really even thinking about that avenue, but I have, talked about that in previous relationships, and but then again, like we would talk about that, and I'd be, I would be on board at the time. I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then it's like, oh well, then the infamous question comes up to like, with being that, well, what if we have a kid and the kid comes out disabled? Like, what do you mean? How the fuck? Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't fucking know. Like, whose genes are gonna be stronger? Like, I don't know how that shit works. You know what I'm saying? I'm only gonna do what I know how to do, and that's just to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I'm responsible for all the other shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it happens like that, then it happens like that. But like, I think that would honestly make me feel kind of like shit too, though, because like, not to say that it'd be my fault, or not to say that I put the blame on myself, but in the same sense, I feel like in some way, shape, or form, I would either feel like it is my fault, or I would literally just put it on myself and be like, hey, you know what, this is fucked up. You know what I mean? I can't do it. But I don't know, man. Like, it's really tricky though in that sense, because like, you know, for like, as I mentioned before in the last podcast, you know, my diagnosis is cerebral palsy, and for those of you that don't know, like, cerebral palsy has different variant. I don't want to say variants, but just different levels. It varies from different, like, you know, like, uh, I don't want to say, like, what's the right word for it? It's like different, yeah, like, yeah, different levels, but also like different, severities. Like, some of them are really, 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 really bad, where they're like bedridden and they can't get up. But then you have some that are able to do most of the things. Like, it's just like levels to it. You know, like, there's people that are pretty much bedridden, and then there's people that are quadriplegic, meaning that they can that they can feel from the waist down. You know, like, they can't feel from the waist down. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some that just like have it, but it's a very mild case. You don't know that they have it, but it's like, it's there. You like it, like, somebody with CP would definitely know that you have it, but like, if somebody that doesn't really know about diagnosis, and like, especially that diagnosis in particular, you won't even notice that, or you wouldn't even know that you wouldn't even suspect that they had it in general. So like I said, it's just levels to it, man. But I think that, like, in my situation, I'm more of like the more lucky ones, because I'm basically, now it's kind of a crazy situation, I think, when you look at it like from a overall perspective, because my like, what's the right term for this? It's like medically, right? They put me down as like a quadriplegic, meaning that I can't feel like anything from the waist down, or I can't like control my legs, or anything of that nature. Like, I can't do anything with them. But it's crazy, because I think they just did that because they had to come up with a certain diagnosis. Because, like, in honest truth, like, I can feel my legs, rightfully so, like the whole leg. Like, I can feel both of my legs. I can move them pretty nice. I actually use them to you know, as for support when it comes to like transfers. And for those of you that don't know what transfers are, it's basically from getting from one place to another, meaning like, if I'm sitting on my bed, I could get from my bed to the wheelchair just by using my legs. That's considered a transfer. You know what I mean? But but that's the thing. Like, it's sometimes it's like, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that, but for some people, they genuinely don't know what, like, anything about medical terms. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to be able to you know, express that. You have to be able to teach them exactly what it is that, you know, what it is you're talking about. So, and, so yeah, basically, medically, I'm a quadriplegic, but in reality, like, I can literally do it. Basically, at least 95% of everything by myself. Some things I might need assistance with, but a lot of times I'll either figure it out or just do it myself altogether. But so, like, in my case, like, obviously I have full control of my upper half, and I don't have full control of my lower half. I wouldn't say that I have, like, because if I had full control of my lower half, I would definitely be able to walk. You know what I mean? So there's different things that I'm stronger at than somebody, or there's different things that I'm stronger at that somebody with my diagnosis probably wouldn't be as strong. But it's also in the same context of like somebody that is able-bodied. Like, sometimes you can do something better that they can, and they're able-bodied. You know what I mean? So that's why I just don't. That's why I don't really like the term like labels or disabilities or anything of that nature. Because as I said in my other podcast, like, we all have our limitations and things that we're not strong at, or at least that good at. So it's like, I just don't understand the point of titles. But Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, for me, um, like I said, I can do everything myself. I can literally dress myself, feed myself, go to the bathroom. I can literally get in and out of my chair. Now, the only thing that one of the things that I would say that kind of like messed a lot of it up was the fact that I had surgery. This surgery took place like back in, I think it was 20. Had to be like 2015, because I had to be like 2015, maybe late 2014 or early 2015. But yeah, so I had this surgery, right? It was called a myofascia release or some shit like that. Basically, what that is like, it takes all of the like your muscles, like it's supposed to help all your muscle spasms. Because I did have really bad muscle spasms when before the surgery. I would actually get them quite frequent. But basically, what that surgery was supposed to do was allow me to not have as much muscle spasms, and also be able to allow me to stand up straight. Because before the surgery, my legs would only, I would only, I wasn't able to straighten my legs all the way. They would just be stuck basically at like a 40-degree angle, basically like in a sitting position. Like I could put them straight, I can straighten them out, but they wouldn't go all the way down, is what I'm trying to say. So I guess it would be a little more mobility than a 40 or 45-degree angle. But so that surgery was supposed to be able to help me stand up straight to hopefully allow me to walk. At least that's what I was told during the during the process or whatever. But where I messed up, and where I kind of like dropped the ball significantly, I think. And looking at it now, I can say that it was my fault, but it wasn't my fault, because the initial way that they approached me about the surgery was, "Hey," and I quote, "Okay, hey, so there's a surgery that might be able to help you walk, right? And nothing more, nothing less, just that, right?" And I'm in my mind, you tell a person that's disabled that they have a chance to walk, obviously their first initial reaction is gonna be, "Hey, you know what? Fuck yeah, let's do it." You know what I'm saying? But like, that's where I messed up, because I didn't ask enough questions. Like, they told me about the process of, excuse me, they told me about the process of how the surgery was supposed to go, and what they were gonna do in terms of like, like what the like overall surgery was supposed to do, right? But what they didn't tell me was the side effects of the surgery. So I go ahead and I get the surgery, and we do the whole process and everything. And I leading up to the day, I was kind of like very like I was kind of like very hesitant, because I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't this really wasn't what I wanted to do. I think that at the time I was 17. I was either 16 or 17, so I was still underage. I wasn't technically legal to be able to sign for myself, so that was another reason why I was kind of like, you know what I mean? Because like once I give the okay, that's what it is, right? But then again, you tell somebody that is not able to walk that they're going to be able to walk if they have, or there's a possibility. I don't want to take anything out of context. What they said was there was a high possibility that I would be able to walk, right? So initially, you hear that again. Like I said, you're gonna jump at that opportunity, right? Um, so, like I said, I said yeah because of the way that they presented it, but I didn't. I said yeah without asking further question, and again, that's where I kind of like messed up. And you would think like the initial response would be like, "Oh, well, why didn't your legal guardian step up and like, tell them, hey, like ask more questions or whatever?" But the circumstances at the time were a little bit difficult. I didn't really have guardianship, but I had guardianship at the same time. Uh, long story short, I was basically in the system at the time. I'll go into that like a deeper portion of that later. As I as the episodes roll on. But so at the time, like I had guardianship, but I didn't really have guardianship because my mother was in the picture, but she didn't have like ownership of me or whatever. So like um it was up to them to decide like what the process was going forward. So long story short, they go with the they we go forward with the process, right? We have the surgery day. They give us the pre-op and everything of that nature. And then they tell me like, okay, we're gonna put you inside the we're gonna put you inside this room, and we're gonna give you the epidural and all that jazz. They ended up putting like epidural in my back, which, by the way, till this day I still feel it in my back. Like, I don't know. I've talked to a lot of pregnant people because I have a sisters and stuff that have been to that process, and they said that they kind of go through that same situation too, where they can still kind of feel like the sensation of the epidural, or I don't know. It's like wherever they insert it or whatever that. But anyway, long story short, I still feel that to this day, and it's so weird. Like, cause I'll just be laying there sometimes, cause I can like get it out of my chair or whatever. So I'll just be laying there sometimes, and I'll just feel like this weird like sensation, kind of like in my back. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's just like a weird sensation. And I would I don't know. I just remember feeling that like ever since I got the shot in my back. So, but anyway, so they go through that whole process. They tell me all these things. They tell me how it's gonna go, or whatever. Again, at that time, that would have been my time to fucking ask questions. But I would always have somebody, because at the time I was being taken to my appointments, but there would always be somebody different taking me to my appointment. So the person that took me to my appointment previously wasn't on shift, so then the next person that took me on my appointment the next time wouldn't even know anything going on in the situation. So then it's like it really left no room to really ask questions or kind of like get some definitive answers. But so that was another thing. So again, we end up going through with the situation. We end up going forward with the process or whatever, and mind you, before the surgery, I was able to get in and out of my chair, like from the floor. I'm talking like from the floor to like the chair, easy, with ease, no problem. You know what I mean? And then I was also able to like. I feel like in some ways, I definitely wasn't as cautious as I am when it comes to transferring. Like now, I think that I'm more cautious when it comes to transferring, because I feel like if I fall, like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I always just like overthink the whole situation, and it can potentially put a lot of people in a bad situation. So that's why I'm very, very cautious when it comes to that. As to before, it was just like, okay, I fall, I get back up, and I do my thing, like easy. But so that was basically my point. Like, before the surgery, I was able to like get in and out of the chair. I was able to do a lot more, just a lot more. Like, I felt a lot more free. And then after the surgery, it was like I ended up having all this fucking metal in my legs, and I had a total of like 160 stitches, like between both legs. Because what they do is they make an incision, from your kneecap all the way down to, well, not that far. So it's like where your knee bends, right, all the way down to about like your, when you go to the doctors and they fucking put they hit that spot and it makes your knee jump. So just picture that. So it's like it's not that big of an incision. It's probably like maybe 4 inches. Nah, I would say more. Nah, that's pretty big. I would say like maybe like 10 inches. I don't know. But anyway, it's a fairly decent cigar, but it's honestly not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So basically, they make an incision there because I had a lot of like built up scar tissue. So they took up like they took out all the scar tissue, and then they put like these metal pins inside of my leg to. It's supposed to act as like a as like a spring, I guess, to like bend my leg like from 40 degree, or from a folding position to straight, like to flat. But honestly, it doesn't even do that. Like, I have more discomfort now with those in my legs than I did when I didn't have them in my legs. So it's like it kind of really didn't do much. I did do the whole rehab process and stuff like that. I was in rehab for about like, I think it was like 6 months or something like that. I might have been less or more, but I think the average was like 6 months. I ended up going to like a rehabilitation spot out in Loma Linda. So that was pretty cool. They were really cool people. I definitely liked them a lot. And I feel like they did their job. They did what they could, right? But then at the end of the day, I feel like they were only able to do so much. Their main goal was just to make sure that I could go home and be able to do like at least get in and out of the wheelchair on my own. You know what I'm saying? And the rest was kind of like up to me, which I eventually I did figure out on my own, because I mean, I kind of had to. So I was able to kind of get back to, I guess, normal normal, I guess, in high quotations, because I mean, aside from like not being able to get in and out of my chair, like from the floor to the chair, I think that's where it's like that was like my biggest like accomplishment. I think that like being able to do that, and like now I just like every time my knee hits the floor, or like it's just like if I'm on my stomach, like my knee just like hurts really really bad, because it's like I just feel the metal, like I just feel the metal in my fucking leg like immediately. It's the weirdest thing ever. I don't know how to explain it, but I just always get that fucking like discomfort feeling, and it just like it really really sucks. Um, so it's like if I'm gonna lay down, I have to lay down on my back or like my side. But if I lay on my stomach, that's when it's like ugh. But I can do it, but I just can do it for a long time. But anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent. But yeah, I say all that to say that if you're gonna get fucking surgery, man, just make sure you know what the fuck they're gonna do. Make sure you're able to have somebody inside the room to ask you these, to ask the uncomfortable questions, or just questions that you don't feel like you are ready to ask or whatever. Like, just make sure you have somebody there. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because, yeah, I made the mistake of not having anybody there, and well, I mean, I'm not dead, so I guess that's good. But at the same time, it's like I'm not where I used to be, and that's what frustrates me. But um, yeah, man, I don't know. Like I said, all that kind of just came out of the fact of just talking about like relationships and stuff, or interabled relationships to be specific. But again, at least for me, like I said, what helps me, this is crazy because I kind of like went off of that, but what helps me though is just to really be upfront. You have to just be upfront. You have to just be as honest as possible. Tell them the things, because it's gonna suck, because once you do that, it's gonna like you're gonna get a reaction either way. Either way you put it, you're gonna get a reaction. But I think that you know only do it when if you feel like it's really really like right for you. Like if you feel like there's too many questions, if there's more questions than answers, you probably shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? uh but then again, like how would you really know? You know what I'm saying? I think that you never really know until it's kind of like the situation. But at least try to get somebody that knows more or less about disabilities or your disability in specifics, just so they know what they're kind of getting themselves into. That would be my best recommendation, honestly. Aside from that, I really don't know what else I would be able to say, just because, like, I don't know, like, for me, I don't, I mean, I don't know, like, I just don't care. I don't really care about, the reaction or how they react to, who I am as a person, because I'm still going to be me at the end of the day. It's not like if they tell me that they don't want to fucking go forward with it, that I'm going to just, change who I am. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's just my perspective of it. Obviously, like, it's different for everybody, of course, because a lot of people that are disabled haven't even been in a relationship, much less like, had any type of physical interaction with another human being. So it's like, in that sense, it can be very nerve wracking because you don't know what to expect. But again, the simple answer would be just to just be you. But honestly, in today's generation, I just feel like that's just not enough. You know what I mean? Like I said, the best thing you can do about it is just really be honest with the whole situation, kind of, and before you even talk about relationship, just kind of make sure you know what their intent is with you in general, because that'll help, so like help. That'll help, get the situation figured out a little bit better, so you don't have to feel like you're just under 1,000% of pressure, uh, so yeah, just kind of like get a vibe from them as friends, you know what I'm saying? And if you guys hit it off and you feel like it could be something that could be potentially, something more, then go for it, right? But I don't know, man. Like, I'm glad that I was able to throw in that story time, though. I think that you guys liked the last one, so I'm glad that I was able to kind of do that again. Also, too, for those of you that are wondering, because I know that there's probably going to be comments in the fucking comment section if you're single or whatever. Yes, I'm single. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I am not really looking forward to any of that type of stuff right now. I'm not really trying to do any of that. I'm literally just trying to like be me. And when I say that, a lot of people are just like, "Damn, you're so fucking lame." Like, but it's like, if I know that I don't want that, I'm not gonna put myself in that situation because I'm not gonna be invested. I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna give it my all. You know what I'm saying? So why am I gonna be dumb and put myself in that type of situation? It just doesn't make any sense. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm never gonna be in a relationship. Eventually, I'm gonna put myself out there and get into a relationship, but I just don't want it if it's not gonna be serious. If I wanted something, that was just gonna be for like for a short term, I can do that. I can easily do that, rightfully so, like 1,000%. But I'm just done with those kind of relationships. I don't want those kind of relationships. I want something that's gonna stick. I want something that's gonna, like I want something where we can grow together. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the only way to do that is to make sure that you guys are on the same page from the very beginning. Um, and do I think that having a disability should define you as a person, or at least in other people's eyes? Hell no. But does it happen? Yes, it does. A lot more than you would think. So, but again, man, I hope I hope something helped that I said. I hope that I was able to help out in some way. I'm sorry. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a freaking. I'm not a freaking psychiatrist or anything of that nature. I don't know anything from nothing about anything of that nature. I'm only telling you from what I know based off of my experience. So hopefully you guys find something like that useful. If you did, please make sure to let me down. Please make sure to let me know down below in the comment section. Man, I can't even talk, bro. But yeah, just let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for tuning in, bro. Thank you guys again. I can't express it enough to thank you guys for the support you guys showed in the last episode. You guys did really well, and I'm really really excited for what's to come for this podcast. If you guys have any more questions in regards to something that I didn't cover, if you want to know any more information, make sure to just hit me up on my Instagram at anything goes with Joe, or at Joseph Lopez 8877. I think it is. That's like my main account in quotations. But yeah, make sure to make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and of course, again, comment down below, and let me know what you guys want me to talk about next, man. This has been fun. Again, this is episode 2. I'm excited to even get this far. I think we're on a good track, though. I think we're on a good run. So, yeah, man, it's been your boy Joe. It's been a freaking pleasure talking to you guys. But until next time, peace.